Infrastructure development is no doubt pivotal to economic development of any nation. However, for Nigeria, road infrastructure deficit remains a major concern for the country. In the light of this challenge, President Muhammadu Buhari on the 25th of January 2019 signed the Executive Order number 0007 on road infrastructure development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme. The scheme, which is for a period of 10 years from its commencement date, is a public-private partnership intervention that enables the federal government to leverage private sector capital and efficiency for the construction and refurbishment and maintenance in key economic areas in the country. The private participants of the scheme will provide the funds for the construction and refurbishment projects, and in exchange, as they are entitled to recoup the funds provided as credit against the company's income tax to be paid. Well, I introduced him earlier as a partner at Anderson, Nigeria. Mr. Adeyemi Adediro is already in the studio. Mr. Adediro, good afternoon and happy Salah to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'd like to start with an overview of what the Road Infrastructure and Refurbishment Investment Tax Credit Scheme stands for. Take us through what it really means and what it tends to achieve.
Well, if you recall what the last speaker said, that even if the government borrows 10 times...
The last question, yeah, I knew that.
That if the government borrows 10 times, right, they will not be able to, fix the gap for the infrastructure needs of the country. So what this is all about is that the government has recognized that fact, and what this is doing is to provide a framework for public and private sector partnership in order to provide the much needed road investment that is required, And what this is saying is that you have the government having a need to provide good roads, for the manufacturing sector and all other sectors of the economy. And then you have companies, right, battling with bad roads. And in some cases, you have companies fixing those roads because they want to get their goods from one point to the other. So what the government has done is that let's put a framework together such that if you fix the road with some funds, right, you get to claim tax credits, And what this is saying is that private companies, have the incentive to be able to direct how their tax is going to be spent. If I'm going to pay tax to the government and the government uses it for something else, with this framework, I can pay tax in such a way that I use it to fix a road that is pivotal to my company or my production process. So for the scheme defines the cost that will be claimed as a credit to be to the total cost that is incurred for that road. It also includes cost incurred for professional services. Maybe you engage a lawyer, you engage an engineer. All the cost that is incurred only necessarily and reasonably incurred for the purpose of that road will serve as part of the credits that will be provided. Now, the government also recognized the cost of fund. And the government said, okay, I know that these companies may probably borrow this money, from the banks. And the government is saying, apart from the cost that can be claimed as a credit, you also have what we call an uplift, which is MPR plus 2%.
Yeah.
So MPR is about 11.5, with 2% is 13.5. So companies have the opportunity to claim the total cost plus, if you do it now, it's about 13.5 of the total cost. So all of that comes as a credit. Now, for companies seeking to claim the credit, right, you may find out that the year that you want to claim credits, you may be making losses, The order also provides for the ability to sell the credit to third parties, all right. And for each year, government is saying, even though I've given you this credit, and you can claim it against your tax, right? Let's share it. So every year you claim 50% of the credits available, but you can carry forward the remainder to subsequent years, even beyond the tenure of the order, which is 10 years. So you claim the credit until it's exhausted. So on a high level, that's what this is all about.
Now, the participants of these schemes are guaranteed timely and full recovery of funds used for the project. Is that where the credit thing comes in? How are they being paid? Because this is very important. They need to recoup these monies.
Yeah. So, some road projects, last beyond a year. All right, some last 3 years, 5 years. So based on the order, you don't have to wait till the end of the project when you finish construction for you to claim the credit. There will be some form of annual review where the Ministry of Works will issue what we call a certificate of work done. So every year you take that certificate of work done based on the work you've done so far as a credit against the tax payable for that year. So you continue constructing, you know, and as you are constructing, you are claiming the credit as you go along. Now, one thing that is also very interesting about the order is that even when you finish constructing, the order provides for maintenance cost. And it says the maintenance cost incurred by the company would also form part of the credit for a period of 5 years. All right, so all those provisions are there to ensure that companies are rest assured that they won't lose funds by embarking on these projects.
So the president has the right under the law to make companies exempt that's payment of tax. Let me read this out. That it's a legal basis in section 23 of 2 of the Companies Income Tax 2011 that the president has the power to exempt any company. Now, what are the bases also to choose those companies that will be involved in all of this project? Because, you know, when things like this come up, anybody could just want to key into it.
Yeah, fantastic question. So the order provides for a framework for approving who is eligible or not.
Great.
So there is the eligibility of the company and there is the eligibility of the road. All right. So the roads that will come under the scheme will be approved by the president under the recommendation of the Minister for Finance. Now, when these roads are approved, they are called eligible roads. So those roads will fall under the scheme.
Will it be economically viable too?
Yes, because I mean, for a company to participate exactly, they would have, you know, weighed the cost benefit, you know. So for companies, right, you need to register under the scheme. So the committees under the scheme will review the application of a company and see whether the company can actually carry out the project in terms of cost, time value of money and all that. So the committee is made up about 15 representatives from different parastatals. All right, so Ministry of Works, you have Ministry of Justice, from the BPE, from the NIPC. So it's a very comprehensive team from various sectors that are pivotal to actually ensuring that the government gets value for money for the construction of the roads. Right.
Now, also, I was looking at it, there could be disputes at times, issues could pop up. Are there also plans to be able to address maybe dispute mechanism or settlement or dispute resolution mechanism as it's called in the business space? Do we have anything like that? And also maybe with regards to determining costs?
Okay, yeah, so the order was very, very beautifully crafted, right? Because if you seek to construct a road under the scheme, you would submit what we call estimated project cost and also a timeline for completion of the project, all right? Now, it's possible that when you're actually carrying out the project itself, the actual cost may be more than the estimated cost at the beginning.
Yes.
So there's a mechanism for the committee to review that and also approve. And it can also so happen that 2 participants may be interested in constructing a particular road under this scheme. So the committee can sit down with these 2 participants and say, okay, let's harmonize, you know, your interest in constructing this road so that 2 companies can actually, you know, participate in constructing on one single road. And if that doesn't work, the order provides that the committee will evaluate which participant can carry out the road more efficiently and then award the road to that participant. So all the concerns, you know, of the private sector with respect to efficiency, ensuring that they get the creditors that went due, have been factored in the order. For instance, it provides that when a certificate of work done is issued to a company. The certificate of work done is supposed to be submitted to the FRS for the issuance of a tax credit. And it says that if the FRS does not issue that within 14 days, the company can go ahead to claim the credit. So all those possibility of inefficiency have been factored in the order, and companies are rest assured that they can actually get the credit even before completion of the road.
Now, for following up now, so do you think, as a professional, I know advisory, you talk to clients and all of that, that this can actually help bridge Nigeria's infrastructure gap? It's a 2-in-1 question. And at least government will be able to use public funds for other things, one way or the other.
Absolutely.
And another thing is, we've had other schemes before now. What's the difference? What's standing out about this? Everyone is talking about this very scheme. What's the unique thing about it?
Yeah, the unique thing about this is that the government didn't just wake up one day and then came up with an order. They engaged, they consulted. You know, there were several versions of the order before this was eventually signed. Because what they were saying to themselves is that since the private sector is a very key part of these projects, you know, let's engage them. Let's hear their concerns, you know, and then address those concerns in the order. All right. There may be some instances of delays, you know, in government approval from files moving from one table to another. But generally speaking, right, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Works are committed in ensuring that companies get the credits as stated in the order. And as you would imagine, right, the government has also put mechanisms in place in monitoring the quality of the projects. So, having gotten an approval, right, as the construction is going on, the Ministry of Works will send some inspection team to actually inspect that the roads are being built to the required quality that the government requires. So, from the government side, you know, there have been checks and balances to ensure that there is no abuse. And from the private sector side, there's always been checks and balances to ensure that they get the credit, you know, and the value as promised by the order.
So indeed, you agree that maybe there could be reviews at times, you know, to address maybe great provisions of the order and to address maybe concerns from stakeholders.
Absolutely. The order provides for the Minister for Finance, you know, to amend and suggest, you know, possible updates to the order. And also, there's a list of eligible roads already that has been issued by the Ministry of Finance, and the order provides for further updates of that list. So on an annual basis or periodically, the Ministry of Finance can come up with additional list of eligible roads. So it's not exhaustive, right? So it's like a working document. So this year, some roads may be approved. You know, if there are other roads that are needed, you know, that are vital for the economy, the Minister of Finance can recommend those roads. Those roads will be published in a gazette, and companies can take advantage of it.
So this, I'm sure this also has to do with the Ministry of Works and Housing, Finance, all of them coming together. And what more do you think? Well, let me not say Nigerians now need to know about the benefits of this, because many of them, when they see big words like this, infrastructure and refurbishment, investment tax credit scheme, they think is all one big thing all over. But explaining it to me, I see a lot of positives in this. What more do you think Nigerian school maybe want to know that you could share with us before we wrap up this segment?
Yeah, I know Nigerians typically have reservations when it comes to government projects and all that.
True.
Yeah, but
trust issues.
Trust issues, right? But one thing that is important to know about this project is not just government. It's government and the private sector. And the private sector have enough incentive, you know, to participate in the project, right? And so much so that even if the company is making losses, right, and is not able to utilize the credit, the order provides that the credit can be sold. So you can be a company, you know, that has not applied for this to be under this scheme, but you can still buy off the credit from another company. So a lot of flexibility has been introduced in the order, and a lot of efficiencies have been built in, you know, in formulating the order. So I would say that there's really nothing to worry about. We expect that the government will do their bit, and private sectors can come in to ensure that the roads that are critical to their own business, you know, are enlisted under the scheme, and they can get some benefits in form of tax credit.
That's a good one. I will be here to follow up and also keep a tab with you to see how effective, because at least some will be on the pipeline now for approvals and all of that. So we'll see how all of that plays out, and if we can really bridge this infrastructure gaps that continues to stare us in the eye as a country. I think the last time they said we need to invest approximately how many $1 billion from Moody's every year for us to be able to stabilize infrastructure. But with schemes like this, I think we are on the right track.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I can just say thank you to you, partner Anderson, Nigeria, Mr. Adeyemi Adeniroye, making sense of what this really means to our infrastructure growth in Nigeria. Thank you very much for spending your Salah afternoon with us. We really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right then. Well, let's